Just a complete and utter embarrassment. I have no words for what the fuck I'm actually witnessing. This actually might be one of the most embarrassing Alabama football games I've seen in maybe close to 15 years. I don't even know what to say. I have no words for what's going on. I have no words. This is the most embarrassing football game I think I have seen in 15 years. It has been. I mean, we're talking French. Like we're talking French Honey. We're talking fucking Dennis and fucking Shula days. Like this is what we're talking about, guys. Like this is bad coaching. The players are not inspired. The players are clearly not motivated. This is 2004. This is 2000. This is Joe Kynes football. This is not Saban football. I don't even know this is DeBoer football. This is Joe Kynes, Dennis Franchione. This is this type of ball. This shit is absolutely embarrassing. You know what? I normally don't do this, but we're gonna do this today because we guess what? We absolutely deserved it. You get the Stone Cold treatment, and you're gonna get it again. And you know what? You're gonna get it one more time. You get the Stone Cold treatment every fucking time that you can absolutely get. Because what the fuck is this? What is this? What is this coaching network? What is this coaching and the misalignments and the product that we are getting? What is this? This is bullshit. This is bullshit against fucking Vanderbilt. Fucking Vanderbilt. And listen, I understand that this is not 2017. I actually think that this is a decent Vanderbilt football team. But yeah, let me tell you something to our entire fucking coaching staff and to our marketing and to our fucking social media department and marketing department who decided it was a good ass idea to throw fucking rat traps all over the Melmore facility. It's not working. Offensive line misalignment. Offensive line is failing to pick up certain protections because they're getting confused by Vanderbilt's deep. They're getting confused by these. They're not even disguising the blitzes. They're showing it to you pre-snap, and you're falling for it. How? Receiving concepts are terrible. Jalen Murrow is only reading half the field. This is what I told everyone on Ty's stream. There's a difference between Jalen Murrow and everybody else. I don't give a fuck if we gonna score here. I don't give a damn if we score because guess what? I don't trust this defense. I don't trust them. Jalen Murrow's a half-read quarterback. I told you he can only read you half the field. He's not gonna go through his full fucking scans. But again, I'm not gonna put this on Jalen Murrow because the offensive coaching is terrible. I tried to tell people, man, and people were getting pissed off and upset when I kept saying that I was concerned that the coaching blunders were going to carry in this football game. People were telling me I am overreacting. I'm spoiled as a Bama fan because we beat Georgia. But I kept trying to tell everyone, no, I'm not pissed off that we won the game. I'm pissed off that Georgia got into it, not because Georgia isn't a great football team and they can't figure out how to make adjustments, because they made adjustments. It was the lack of adjustments that this coaching staff refused to make until deep in the fourth quarter. That's what pissed me off. It was the refusal to make adjustments. It was the refusal to go back to things that worked in the first half. Offense, going empty, running a lot of motion, running a lot of fucking pin and pull. The receiving concepts were better. The mesh concepts were better. We were running crossers. We were running over routes. None of that appeared in the second half. And then we were running up-tempo offense. That's what we're fucking running, up-tempo offense. But we're not playing the short to intermediate football game. We're not playing it. So that's why I was pissed off. So I hope all the Bama fans that kept complaining to me last week, that kept telling me, why are you being so spoiled? This is why I was pissed. because this coaching staff refused to make adjustments. And now the same coaching blunders, the same shitty receiving concepts, the non-crossers, the non-motion, the non-pin and pulls, none of that shit is carrying it over to the first half. No, I'm going to have a meltdown. I don't give a fuck if we come back and win this game. Because, again, we should have never been in this position to begin with. We should have never been here to begin with. We are in week 6. We are in week 6. This is not week 1 or week 2 against South Florida. I was less pissed off against South Florida because I understand that you don't want to show your full hand. Well, we are in week 6. What are you trying to hide within this playbook? Why? What are you trying to hide? And then defensively, you want to know why Vanderbilt is running all over us? Because we don't have our heavy set in the game. We are running light, like we always fucking do. This is the one thing about the 4-2-5 defense I hate because it's all about sub packaging. We are running light. Your defensive tackles, these are not run defenders. These are pass rushers. And you have your best run defenders on the fucking sideline. So you want to know why they're gashing us? You want to know why they're creating a lot of these holes? And then why holes? Because your run defenders are not in the game. So then what do you think they're going to do? They're going to run play action. They're going to run a lot of RPO-based concepts. They're going to run a lot of read option. Why? Because they're going to play the run. Until the quarterback is free. The quarterback is going to be free. And even the crazy part is, knowing how mobile this quarterback is, you don't have a fucking spy on him. Not until we made that, and not until that last drive. Now, why was that? Running fucking base 4. Why are we doing that? And there's no spy on him. This is bullshit. Now listen, I'm not going to be yelling and screaming. I can't. I need some of y'all to talk. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the link in the chat, and if y'all want to come on, anybody that wants to come on and voice their frustrations, or if you want to make fun of Alabama, you absolutely can do it because we absolutely deserved it. Absolutely fucking deserved it. The coaching, once again, is carrying it over in the second half. This was my concern. This was my concern. This was my concern. Again, anybody wants to join in. All you have to do is hit the link, right? Hit the link. If you guys want to come up and talk. This was my concern. I knew this shit was probably going to carry over. And people were calling me crazy for calling out the shittiest fucking lack of adjustments. Look at this. Look at the run. Look, your best run defenders are not in the game. You're playing light like Vanderbilt's a passing football team. Heavily misaligned. Again, we're bringing the safeties down, but the problem is we're playing this disguise cover 0 and cover 1 bullshit again. You didn't learn your lesson from last week. God damn it.
Jay.
Oh, Coach Sean, you gotta talk to me, man. You gotta talk. I have to. Why are we running? Why do we not have our best run defenders in the game, Coach Sean?
Can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you, Coach Sean. I can hear you.
Man, I don't know what the hell we doing, bro. Like, what in the shit am I watching, bro? What am I watching, fam? I don't know, bro. They got pass rushes. I said this. Me and Ty and Al are in the chat right now. It's like we got third down personnel on first down. I don't know what the hell we doing, bro. We're not mixing up the play calling whatsoever. We're making it very easy on Vanderbilt. Very easy, dog. I don't. Dude, don't look now. But Vanderbilt is more physical than Alabama. Don't look now.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. They're more physical at the point of attack. But then again, Latham, James Smith, these are not run defenders.
That's a fact. Where's Jaheim? Have you seen Jaheim
He
Otis? Is
hasn't
he
even
hurt?
entered the game. I haven't even seen him enter the game yet.
Man, what
The
in the
only one
shit
is
is?
Keenan. And Keenan's barely playing. And he's on our
I
heavy
don't.
sets.
Vanderbilt is excited to play, bro. They're excited to play. We better do something. All these little short ass routes, man. Man, I don't know, Jay. I just wanted to tap in with you real quick and say I agree with you 1,000%. This shit look awful. And bruh, let me say this. This is the whole purpose of me wanting to tap in with you. I'm right there with you, bro. I'm right there with you. You know, I'm fact. I'm a. You know me. I'm a fact over feeling person. Everybody was happy. I'm happy about the Georgia win. We love that, right? But what do we always do? Dating back to when all of us was on the other show, we see the stuff that could hurt you down the field. Y'all complaining about a win. No, we're not complaining about a win. We complaining because we see things that's gonna hurt you when you play a little bit better competition or a more feisty, motivated team. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what's happening. That's exactly what's happening. Look, I'm gonna get back to this game, Jay. I just wanted to show you some love and tell you 100% right. Stay on their neck, bro, and keep it real. Keep it real. You know our motto: facts over feelings. Give a damn what they say. The truth is the truth, man. Right? The truth is the truth. I'll catch you after the on the post game if you tap in.
All right, Coach Sean.
All right, my brother.
Oh boy. All right. What's going on, E? What's up, dude? What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, man? Thanks for having me on. I follow you every now and then. I'm a Michigan fan, so I know the frustration.
Oh
um,
man. Oh,
but
it's been terrible.
I just wanted to know how much leeway are you going to give, DeBoer and the coaching staff, being this is the first year and Saban gone. And I say that because you guys are so used to winning, and I think if as Bama fans, because I've been around them for a long time, any type of mediocrity is not accepted. So how much leeway would you give this current team, being that Coach Saban retired last year?
It's I'm gonna give DeBoer time. Of course, I'm gonna give DeBoer time. I mean, like I said, I don't think DeBoer's a coach, but I think the reality is he's not Saban. He's not gonna be Nick Saban. But Kane Womack is another story. I'm not giving any leeway with Kane Womack because I was skeptical with the 4-2-5 defense in the first place. You're a Michigan fan. You gotta have bodies upon bodies. You gotta have the right rotate. Like you gotta have those run defenders. You gotta have guys that can get to the quarterback. You gotta have depth, and you gotta have a very disciplined secondary. Man, this defense isn't a joke to really deal with. And my biggest concern was that we're too young. I think we're a little bit too young on the outside. I think on the inside, for the most part, I think we don't really have. I think this coaching staff doesn't really have a greater understanding of the personnel that is being utilized here, and it's just. It's Womack is going to have a short fuse. He's going to have a short fuse. Now DeBoer, of course, it's going to be his decision. It's obviously going to be his decision. But in terms of like you're just asking me personally, Kane Womack is I've been skeptical of him since day one, and so we'll see, man. But it's I think Sheridan. If Sheridan goes down, DeBoer can step in and be the play caller. So I'm not really worried about the offense, but defensively, man, this was my worry for this year, is that the defense was going to definitely take a major step back. And so we'll kind of see about it, man. But yeah, Kane Womack I have a short fuse with him.
Yeah, because I think certain defenses is in certain conferences is just a big difference, and that's just my opinion. Like just think
Mhm.
certain defenses in certain conferences, it may be, especially if you don't really have that personnel. But I watched your game last week, and what they did against Georgia. I thought that the mistake that they made last week, I didn't understand. Like, they were winning and they were hurrying up. I didn't understand that. But other than that, I thought the play calling and everything. But you guys got the best wide receiver in the country, Milrow. I like him. It looks like he's made some progression from last year. So I think you guys will be fine. And maybe these guys just kind of sleepwalk and was like, hey, we're just going to walk over Vanderbilt, but the boys coming to play. So maybe that's just a good wake up call for them to, win this game, to overcome some adversity as a young team, and then kind of go on and realize every week, you got to play hard, because a lot of these teams, man, it's not like back in the day before NIL where a team was
Mm-hmm.
just,
Yep.
okay, and we knew we could just walk in and overlook the next week. Like, everybody got some type of form of talent to where you may get beat on any given Saturday.
No, you're right. You're right. And listen, Vanderbilt, Vanderbilt's 2-2, but if you look at their record, if you look at their track record so far, man, I mean, they've lost games. I mean, they should be 3-1. Vanderbilt should be. This is a 3-1 football team. I like the quarterback. He's very mobile. He's very mobile. He's very mobile, very patient. But again, this is the first quarterback that Bama has gone against that it's a combination of people that can escape the pocket and create plays with his arm. I mean, he can improvise. He's the first quarterback we played all year that can do this stuff. So again, it's a new look, but he's been doing this all year round. So I understand that, again, the film compared to actually being a real game scenario is a lot harder than what it actually looks. But it's just like the fact that we didn't even utilize a spy until this midway in the second quarter is just like, what are we doing? For the most part. So again, it's the coaching adjustments. It's the lack of coaching adjustments that, again, it pisses me off. Now, in the second half, I expect this team to make a lot more of adjustments and we can get back into this football game. But, I mean, Vanderbilt, they've out-coached us. They've outplayed us. And it's just like if Bama ends up losing this game, it is what it is. Like, I know a lot of people will make fun of us because we lost to Vanderbilt, but there's a reason why they beat Virginia Tech. Vanderbilt, and Virginia Tech should have beat Miami. I mean, Vanderbilt, this is a well-coached football team that a lot of people are simply just kind of sleeping on. And I feel like we did the exact same thing with this football team.
Yeah, I won't hold you up, man. Thanks for stopping in. But I just wanted to say before I go, I really hate this spy and double spy. And I know last year, Georgia did that to y'all and Mill Road torched them. And, I've seen a lot of teams do that. And that drives me crazy because that means that whoever you got spying needs to be faster than the quarterback. And if you look at it, when we played y'all last year, Michigan, I mean, we went out the Mill Road. We didn't spy anything. We blitzed them.
No. Mm-hmm. Went right after them.
What's that?
I said you just went right after him.
Yep, went right after them. That spy stuff, man, is crazy work, man. And Georgia was doing that double spy against him, and I'm like, he's going to torch y'all, and he did. So, yeah, man. Thanks for having me on, man, and keep up the great work, man. I sort of follow you every now and then. I catch your stuff. I'll subscribe. I think I hit the subscribe button, and so it pop up in notifications. But keep doing your work, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.
No problem.
Oh boy! If anybody else wants to, there we go. If anybody else wants to come on, they do. Duke, if you want to come back in, I'm sorry I didn't get you, but boy, what's going on, Caleb? You gotta talk to me about this game. You gotta talk to me, please.
No, you're fine. The one thing I would always say is what Unc said, Shannon Sharp. You don't accept in a win what you don't accept in a loss, and I think that's been the biggest problem with Alabama. Is that, we have these miracle wins, USF, Georgia, and everybody gets drunk on the win and then don't realize if 2 possessions go wrong, it's your ass.
No, I agree. I mean, and again, the whole, remember they put the rat traps down in the Melmore facility and they, and then what happened? It's this that didn't help. It clearly didn't help the situation, So it's just, to me, man, it's the coaching adjustments in this game it's been awful. It's carried over to this game. Again, we're coming out and basically almost the same look like we did in the first half against Georgia. But again, Carson Beck and this quarterback, they're different guys, right? This quarterback, again, he's not biting down the looks at all. And if he is, he's going to take off. There's no spy. We're rushing with base 4 we're rushing with 3 and sometimes sending an extra blitzer. But again, there's no containment on the outside. So he's escaping the pocket easily. He's the play. Again, we may have shut down the play initially, but guess what's happening? Because of how good he can improv, the play's broken down, and guess what's going to happen now? It's a drill. Now all of a sudden our receivers are getting open where they shouldn't get open, and if it's not going to get open, he's going to take the open yards. It's just I just don't understand why we bring the safeties down and then we go into more of a disguise look. Why are we should be bringing these safeties down in the first place to play this quarterback. I just, again, because you're leaving these corners on islands. Again, you're doing it again where you're leaving these corners on islands. if you're going to disguise the safety, if the safeties are not helping out the corners anyway when you're disguising, you might as well just bring them down and help play the quarterback. I don't know.
Yeah, you might as well bring him down and play like a cover 6. Leave a corner on a hook on whatever side you think he's going to run to. So at least he's there. He's over there. You know, he might not be. Put him on a zone or like a soft cloud. You know, put him on a hard flat. Okay, you're gonna protect this edge.
Yep, exactly. Like I don't understand, man. Why? I don't get it. I like Kane Womack has been he's been terrible in the second half. Terrible this time. It's just confusing to me what the hell we're trying to do defensively. I don't know. I don't even have the words, man. Like it has been off. Like this is worse than Pete Golding. Like this is actually worse. Because at least Pete Golding, again, he'll make adjustments through the game. And like I said, we may hate it. We may disagree with it. We may, with the changes, but at least he's trying, like he's experimenting. He's trying. This dude, he refuses to make adjustments. He refuses to make them. I don't get it. I don't know.
Well, I think like you said earlier, because I was trying to get in there, but I was hearing what you were saying, where you were saying along the lines of the youthfulness of the team. Yep. And the good sign of a really good coach is fuck your scheme, which look at the talent of my team and then form the scheme around it, not trying to just vomit your scheme upon the team.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're just going to do this because I said so. Like, you got a very young secondary besides Sab and Moore. Okay, you have really 2 good pass rushers off the edge, Lawson. But like you said, those are pass rushing. So now what you go do when you play Michigan, who literally ran the ball down the throat? Who they play? They won by like 13 points.
Oh no.
Yeah,
yep. They just ran the ball. They just ran it down their throats. Like you can't play that sort of defense against Michigan. They'll kill you. You'll try to play that too high, that too high look, and no, you will get killed. Every single time you play against hell, Tennessee. I'll even say Tennessee. Now Tennessee will stretch you out wide. Like they like to play that sort of veer look, but at the same time, Tennessee's a run first team. You cannot play that too high look against them. You're gonna get killed every time. So this is huge concerns. Like this is big concerns with his defense because this is the season. It has been this way since the first game of the season. And so I don't know. I am there is some worries. I'm not gonna lie to you.
But I will say this though. The one thing I've always noticed about Alabama, because I've been Alabama fan since I was a child, is every time Alabama gets that number 1 position, that number 1 spot, it always goes to shit. Every time Alabama's like number 2, number 3, I don't know like what it is when Alabama finally gets number 1 in the regular season. It's like we forget how to play football.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, we're here now. It's like we reached the promised land. It's like, no, your season's like we're 5 games in.
Yep, I agree. It's
so
like
if we do manage to put, go ahead.
I say they get complacent.
And I mean, I don't know, like what we're, granted, we got Law out. Prentice he's probably out for 3 or 4 games with a concussion protocol, which they probably about to put him on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're going. I don't know why. I mean, I understand we have all these wide receiver talents, and we have a dual option quarterback. Why are we not establishing the run? Why are we like? It's like these new coaches come in for Alabama, the Pete Goldens, the Womacks, etc., and then they add a job security. They're like, oh, we got to reinvent the wheel. Nick Saban won all of these national titles doing it one way. Why fuck it up? Now, granted, he did evolve. I'm not saying he didn't evolve with the times, but we were still a run-heavy offense.
Yep. And then defensively, again, you're not going to run a Saban-like defense because Saban's, pattern match defense was hard as hell. Like that, it's one of the hardest defenses to try to execute. But offensively, man, you got 2 guards that are very, very you have 2 of the best guards in the country. You have one of the best centers in the country. Again, you can predicate off you don't have to force Milroe for the read option. And Milroe's going to have to take some blame too, man, because again, Milroe is he's I always keep saying, man, he's a half-read guy. He's not going to go through progression 1 to progression 4. It's just not in his DNA. He's a half-read guy. But especially in the run game, man, there were like there were 3 carries that he should have handed off. That was the right decision, was to hand off, and he took it, and he tried to take it and try to go off the edge when they're playing the edge right. So it's just like Milroe in the Georgia game. I saw that in the second half. Like he's getting a little overconfident too, in trust, and I think he's a little overconfident in his legs, and I don't know. Like this might have to be a game, man, where you're gonna have to slow down the clock, predicate off the run, have slow methodical drives, and rest this defense. See if they rest this defense up a little bit, man, because it's right now this up tempo offense, these receiving concepts that we're trying to run, and like the mesh isn't working. Like it's just been a disaster. Like we're trying to run this Washington like offense, but it just has not been successful. So like since the second half, it just hasn't been successful.
Well, because that's what me and my dad was discussing earlier, like early this year when we was concerned about Kalen DeBoer coming here and trying to take that Washington mentality, that Pac-12 air raid, just all of the things that would encompass. And when you come to the SEC, which is predicated on a lot of heavy run offenses, very methodical long drives, 5-6 minute drives at a time, you going down the field in a minute and a quarter, minute and a half, 2 minutes, scoring and then putting your defense right back on there. You know what I'm saying? Then as your defense gets wore out, it become a shoot-off. But guess what? We don't got the talent for a shoot-off. Monroe can barely read coverages half the time and pass and runs. We're losing receivers at this rate, a receiver a game. So, like you said, the board needs to get his coaching staff and be like, hey, we need this, like you just got done saying, we got to slow down this tempo, and we have to go back to more of a balanced approach, or not. When we face somebody like Texas, Tennessee, Georgia a second time, if Carson Beck ever gets it together, it's going to be a long. Hell, even Auburn. I think Auburn, the last time I checked, it was 14-10. It's going to be a long-ass season.
Yep. Boy, man, yeah, I agree, Caleb. But let me get Ice in here, man. Let me get Ice in here, try to get him to talk, man. Get him in here and stuff like that, man. But Caleb, man, I appreciate you for joining, brother. Make sure to tune in.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Hopefully we get to pull out the win. Hopefully we get to pull it off.
10-4, boss. I'm up out there. You be safe.
Yes, sir.
All
right. Oh boy, Ice, talk to me, man. What's going on?
What's up? So why couldn't we get this Alabama to play versus us? Why? Like, honestly, Alabama has been crapping the bed undoubtedly, and I'm really surprised about this. Like, they came out chugging versus us, versus Georgia in the first half. Georgia's for Alabama, but they're not even like Alabama's gonna win. Don't get me wrong, they're gonna win, but it's just really surprising to see, in my opinion.
Yep. You know why? Because Carson Beck is an easier quarterback to play against, because again, he's not a mobile guy. So you can play base defense against him. You can rush 5 or 6. He's not going to really escape the pocket. This is a quarterback, right? This is the first quarterback we played all year, man. That you can't really do that. You can't. You can, and I think we should be able to do that. But we're trying to show them so many different looks. Playing into 0 and 1, and it's looking like we're in cover 3. And it looks like for the most part it looks like we're kind of in split coverage. It's not working against this dude. Again, there's film out on the defense and how to exploit it. And Vanderbilt is kind of, and honestly, I think Georgia probably should have done this in the first half. They should have just simplified the offense. They tried, they didn't do that, and they didn't really simplify the offense until the second half came, where they were just playing forward on offense. And they just said, you know what? We're going to cut through the BS. We know what they're going to try to do. We've seen they showed us every single look that they possibly can imagine. Let's try to get through it. And you know what? Let's attack these corners, because they're going to leave these corners on islands. If you see that sort of look, even if it might be into something else, we don't believe that the safeties have. We don't believe that these safeties can play the field, and so we're going to start throwing the football deep, and we're going to make Alabama. We're going to make Alabama play honest. And Vanderbilt, I mean, the thing that's kind of killing us is the fact that they're successful at running the ball. It's killing it. They're extremely successful at running the rock, and so it's opening up a lot of play action. It's opening a lot of RPO based concepts, easy read options because we're playing the running back compared to the quarterback. And it's slow, methodical drives that we're doing. And again, the crazy part is we're not bailing out in certain coverages. We're still playing the same crap that we did against Georgia in that first half. We're not bringing the safeties down to play to kind of help play the run. We're not, again, like Caleb said, we're not having these players kind of play in a cover 6 role or have these players play a little bit in the slot, in the flat. It's amazing to me the refusal of adjustments that Kane Womack refused to make. And when Georgia made the adjustments in the second half, we stayed in the same looks until we got into like the fourth quarter, and that's when we decided to run a lot of exotic blitzes. But at that point, it was too late.
Took the lead. Yeah, when we took the lead, you decided to wake up. I was like, I knew when Georgia took the lead, I was like, this doesn't feel right. I was obviously really happy, but this doesn't feel right because Alabama has completely outcoached us, outplayed us all game, almost all game, the first half especially. So I think they deserved the win no matter what. And well, they scored. I mean, what do you do there? But I think Carson Beck had a fluke game, in my opinion. He's been better today, but I think Carson Beck just had a really fluke game, and something was going on in his mind that he was just playing just really bad that game.
Yeah, he didn't take what the defense gave him. We confused the shit out of him in the first half. We just kept showing him different looks. And he was confused. He's thinking to himself, okay, they're in cover 3. Oh, wait a minute. No, me flip to the other side. Oh, they're in cover 2. What the freak? And then like he was confused in that entire first half. And in the second half, he just saw what's his name? Bobo made adjustments, and Carson Beck was it's like a flip switched. Like
Mike Bobo's offense worked in like 2012, but times have changed a little bit, and his offense is just not as effective today.
No.
I knew when we hired Todd Monken back in like 2020, he was going to do great things to the offense and, 2 national championships, right? And that's probably because of Todd Monken. He completely transformed the offense and made Stetson Bennett look really good. But I knew we're not going to be as good without Todd Monken. That he was a piece to our offense that it's hard to lose. And now our offense is just not. What's the score? I think I'm gonna look at the score now. It's 10-21. Georgia is winning, but we're just not that aggressive. This looks like the 2019 Georgia offense right here.
Yep. And the crazy part is, Ice, looking at this Vanderbilt game, offensively the looks are there. Like when Jalen Merrill took the 2-yard loss, Ryan Williams was wide open on the crossing where he was wide open. But guess what? Pritchett was confused Pritchett was confused of which man to kind of pick up. Again, that was like the one time where they kind of hit exactly what they were trying to go at, and Pritchett took the wrong guy, left the free rusher, and it forced Jalen Merrill to escape. I mean, that was a touchdown. Didn't see it. There were a couple other looks where Jalen Merrill if that was Carson Beck or Shedeur Sanders, they're seeing that. Because they're pro style guys. They're gonna go through read 1 through 4. Milroe's a half read guy. He's not gonna see it. And so, there's just like there are limitations about Milroe that I simply it's unfortunately in this offense, it's a difference between him and Michael Penix. Penix could read everywhere.
Well, Joe Burrow, when he played at LSU in 2019, he was he was a pro style quarterback, but he can move.
Yep.
He can move.
Yep.
He's a bit faster than Carson, but Carson Beck, I think with Stetson was even a pro style. I think he was pro style. Was he dual threat?
He was a pro style. He just could move.
He was pro style. He can move.
Like he can definitely move. Pro style guys. A pro style quarterback in this offense would tear it up. Like that's why Michael Penix Jr. did. Now Michael Penix started off as a dual threat And then it's kind of like it's like the Floyd Money Mayweather effect. It's like Floyd used to be like Floyd. He was a brawler. Then he broke his hand. Then he adjusted his game, and then he became a defensive fighter. Michael Penix was a dual threat. Like that, he was a 4-4 dual threat guy who kept suffering injuries, adjusted his game and he evolved his game into a more of a pro style quarterback. And it was a benefit. Because now all of a sudden he's going through progression. He's going through every single read. He's now a better processor of the ball now. And then he fixed his ball placement as soon as he got to Washington. So Milroe's not that dude though. I mean, to give credit to our coaching staff, like we're not trying to change Jalen Milroe. Like we're trying to take a look. We're trying to really hide Jalen Milroe's weaknesses, and we're trying to really focus on what he does best, and that is pre-snap. Like he is really, really good pre-snap because the reason why these deep passes are like immaculate is because what he sees pre-snap. He sees the look that he wants to get at. He may like I said, he may try to look off certain defenders, or he may try to do some improv in order for that placement to get to the receiver. But he's really good pre-snap. The problem, and this has always been my problem with Milroe, it's post-snap. And that's what Carson Beck and Shedeur Sanders can do really well. They're very good post-snap. They're not only good pre-snap, but they're very good post-snap wise, especially in their intermediate game. They're very good quarterbers.
That was what Jake Fromm was. He was the smartest guy ever pre-snap, but the post-snap, he just completely fell with the bag.
Yep.
He showed really strong leadership pre-snap and knew what he was doing, but post-snap, he didn't know what he was doing.
Yep, it's been I don't know. Like
Miller's still a good quarterback though, and DeBoer has done a good job. He's done a good job.
Yep, I was not in the hype though of him being the number 1 overall pick. I just wasn't in the hype of that. I was not in the hype of him being the number 1 overall quarterback over Shedeur Sanders. I'm just not.
If that could prove that that game was a fluke, and if that game was really a fluke and he balls out the rest of the season, then his draft stock will stay the same, probably. That game did hurt his draft stock, but if he could prove that was a fluke, it's not going to hurt it.
Nope. And like I said, he'll like I said, the Texas game is gonna say it all. Like that's gonna be the game that's gonna say it all right there. Because I actually think Texas has a better front seven than ours. They have a way better front seven than ours.
I think it's a record for the completion percentage last year. He was.
What was he like? 73%.
He was balling out. Yeah, definitely. But he had Brock Bowers and like Vladimir McConkey, and we don't have that anymore. Thanks. And Rawat Thomas got arrested. So
arrested. Okay, so he's suspended. Yep.
Yeah, it's like at this point, his weapons are gone. Oscar Delp is definitely not Brock Bowers. Arian Smith, I think that's what set the tone of the game. When Carson Beck dimed Arian Smith on like the second play or something, he dropped that. That set the tone for that offense.
And ironically, that's the same looks that we were giving him in the second half. We just kept these corners are playing the deep third, but there's no safeties to help them. There's no safeties at all to help them. And so Xavier Brown's being left on an island. Damani Jackson are being left on islands without any safety help. And again, if I was Georgia, every time I kept seeing that look, I'm testing it. Especially if these safeties not playing too high. I'm taking that shot every single chance that I can get. And to Carson Beck's credit, he did take the shots. It's just that at times he, in the first half, he either underthrew the ball or like the placement was just bad. It was terrible. But he got better in the second half.
Yeah, and Carson Beck, he obviously, we could have had a chance to tie and go over into overtime, but then he looked so careless. He threw it right to the defensive back. And just that was just really reckless in my opinion, because we had a lot of time, we had timeouts, no need to force it. I think.
Can I say something? What's up, man? I'm a huge fan of you, bro, and like I'm a Georgia boy, so I actually disagree with people's takes on that pass. is actually on Mike Bobo. Why would you call that play early on the down when we are moving the ball? All you needed to do was keep running because Alabama wasn't. Georgia was actually running the ball a little bit better, later in the game. And we didn't even play Nate Frazier, who is in a, like electric back and everything. But I actually liked the throw. That was just terrible by the wide receiver. He literally just gave up, and you are 5 inches taller than the cornerback. It wasn't a terrible pass. Yes, he could have threw a little bit on the, so pretty much throw closer to the sideline, but that was really poor effort, and it really was not a good play call. That's what really people should be questioning more. Not It wasn't a lazy pass by Carson Beck because he actually followed through. It was one, it wasn't executed greatly, and then two, it wasn't a great play call in that moment when we had all the momentum. Um, but I'm sorry to cut y'all off, but watching the game, I felt like it was so perfect. If you ever have coached football or just watching football, Alabama, you have never seen a game when a team hit so perfectly on every play. That does not happen. That was like it was a perfect storm for Alabama. You get what I'm saying? Like every call worked, and you've never seen a Georgia defense. Matter of fact, you've never seen a two teams that are on the same level, and Georgia has a great defense. Not as Hall of Fame they've been in the past 2 years, but that was just the worst you've ever seen Georgia look.
Alabama's never blown us out like that.
No, but it's not even a blowout. It's talking about the sequencing, the play calls, everything worked perfectly, and it was at home. Like if you were Georgia, yeah, you said what?
Touchdown Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia scored.
Get in. I'm just messing.
But if you look at even Bama fans, the ones that are not biased, you cannot script anything better than what they did. I'm talking about everything worked on those, and that does not have. If you football doesn't being perfect is never going to happen. And I guarantee you, I was watching Joel Klatt, and Joel Klatt is a known Georgia hater. Like it struggles to give Georgia any props. But he was saying at the end of his episode was that he was like, I actually like Georgia. I'm more positive on Georgia coming out that game than Alabama because Georgia played so awful, not even including the turnovers. You know what I'm saying? Like Georgia, that was the worst I've ever seen Georgia. And Alabama, on the vice versa, it was a perfect storm. And I think that the second time around, it's not going to be perfect like that. Even if it was flipped and Georgia was doing it, that just does not happen in football. I don't care what fan bases, you cannot have that perfect of play calling and perfect play execution every time you go out. And look what's happening against Alabama and Vandy right now. Alabama, and it's always funny is that whenever Alabama plays Georgia, the second when Alabama plays their next game, it's terrible. It's like, yo, you shot your load against Georgia and you have nothing else except for with Georgia, it's the opposite. Georgia steamrolls everybody else. It's like is what happened in the second half. Alabama, to me, they got a little cute in the second half, but they really didn't do too much. Georgia has great adjustments. If you look at every time Georgia and Alabama play, it's whatever team has that adjustment in the second half wins. Yep. Every time. It's not that one team completely goes differently from the game plan. Georgia just stepped up like Trinity, we normally do. Go ahead.
Now I'll say this is what I talked about going into this into that Georgia game. I'm like Bama, like don't be surprised if Alabama offense has a lot of success against Georgia because Kirby Smart has never seen this. He's never seen a DeBoer-like style of offense. And it's like, people are asking, like, why do you think Georgia's going to falter? I'm like, look at Dan Lanning. Dan Lanning was bringing the same defense, at least his first year. He's changed it up a little bit in the second year. He brought that same defensive style with, again, the athletes. Georgia has better athletes, of course, but Oregon.
It's a wash. It's a wash. It's a wash between the two.
Yeah, like it's like they like the same. They have a very same defensive philosophy, and I watched that same defense struggle. Now I thought Oregon the second time they played them did a little bit of a better job, and that was like the following season until the Pac-12 championship when DeBoer and Ryan Grubb they just incorporated more. They just incorporated more stuff in that in their offense that Oregon that's the one thing about Kalen DeBoer in this offense that I do like. They will give you looks that you haven't seen film on. And that's
right in the first half. In the second half,
we've seen it. Georgia made the adjustments by just play. They were just in. They had two. They just say, okay, you know what? We'll try two spies. We'll mostly be in zone. We'll mostly kind of be in zone, and let's just see what happens. And then when Georgia got a grip and they got exactly what Alabama was trying to do, it was done. Like it was because they shut down the initial point of just closing down the edge, playing some zone. And then Alabama, and I'll say this too. I think Alabama, you notice we didn't run empty. We didn't run a lot of empty in the second half. When Georgia shut it down the first time, the second half, boom. It was like Sheridan is like, okay, they got a grip of what we're doing now.
Yes.
Yep.
And here's my thing is that I don't know how Alabama fans don't recognize that Kirby had a way bigger impact on Nick Saban than they realize. Because Nick Saban, once Kirby left, y'all noticed the defense wasn't looking elite as how when they used to be with Kirby Smart. And Kirby's calling card, his greatest aspect as a coach is his adjustments. It is masterful job of what he does. Dan Lanning, he doesn't have that just yet, and I think that's what Kirby Smart took the most from Nick Saban. Nick Saban is, he's the best ever. But what he does is he sees one thing that doesn't work, and what happens, he corrects it, and the team, starts functioning. Kirby Smart has taken that. Whenever Georgia does something that isn't right, and this is like a blessing and a curse with Kirby Smart, is that Kirby Smart is so either loyal or he, especially in the first half, is like, yo, you keep on sticking with something that ain't working, especially on offense. You know what I'm saying? But in the second half, whatever speech that he does, it's like a light switches and then it's game over. Like, again, how can you stop a team? And this is one thing too, is that I don't think people realize that any other team in the country, and I don't even know if Alabama's team could have withstood a 28-0 in the first quarter and a half and come back. Like, I don't know if Alabama has that what is it called? I don't think they have that experience. And we haven't really seen it with a Kalen DeBoer team. But Georgia, I think Georgia's the only team in the country that could have really came back into that game, especially on the road. Like, that's one thing and I don't know if any other team in the country has that.
Kirby has elite mentality, honestly. I mean, he won his second natty. He got there because they didn't give up versus Ohio State, right?
And Ohio State was beating Georgia. And what happened? He made an adjustment in the second half and brought the team back.
Yeah, no, I think Kirby Smart is a race is like choking leads and all that. And choking leads versus Alabama with Nick Saban there. I mean, that's not something to like. I mean, of course it's disappointing, but also it's not the worst thing in the world, to be honest. Like, we choked. Well, it was pretty close in the 27 natty game. It wasn't nobody had a crazy lead or anything like that, but
every game's been close between them. The only game that wasn't close was the 2021 SEC championship.
It was the 2021 SEC championship and the 2020 regular season.
And to be honest with you, which it is a cop out,
I felt like Georgia. I felt like Georgia and Alabama knew that they were gonna play each other again, and Georgia. Whenever Georgia plays Alabama, you never know how Kirby Smart team is going to start. They could be either start out hot or they could either, come on the second half. But I felt like they didn't take the game as seriously as Alabama because Alabama did have a loss. Alabama had to win for them to get to the playoffs.
2021.
Yeah,
Kirby Smart, we had the best defensive all time, arguably in modern.
I also think too, Trinity. I think your secondary that year. I did not like that secondary.
I didn't like it neither.
Yeah, and Kirby Smart, honestly, there was really not, like that game. It was just nothing he can really do because who you had JMO, you had Mechie. JMO was just running crossers, post like he was running crossers, corners, and streaks. And you can't bracket because if you bracket him, you're leaving Mechie on an island because you have no help for Mechie, and Mechie's just going to kill you underneath. And so it was just different. It was like it was simple. It was simplified. And Kirby tried to make the adjustment by playing his safeties back, but then you're giving the underneath because Mechie got hurt in the first half, but then you're leaving the underneath Golden and Billingsley. It was like that. That was the only game where Kirby Smart. I can't really blame Kirby for making the adjustment. I won't even necessarily say that he was out coached. It was just more so Alabama's offensive firepower was just too much. Now the 2020 game, that was the only Kirby Smart game against Saban. Now he got severely outcoached. That was the game I thought he got severely because Sark was dialing it up. It was nothing. Kirby tried to do everything in his power. That it was nothing he can do that year.
But remember that 2020 year, Georgia, the quarterback. It was Stetson's first game. Like we didn't have our quarterback situation. It was a bad recipe. You know what I'm saying? And but I feel like again, like to your point, Alabama has its dudes. They're gonna play regardless. But I feel like the intensity with Georgia wasn't there because Georgia. It was a far. There was like Georgia could lose and still make it in. It's been like that the past 4 years. And this is what I'm saying with this Georgia team and Kirby is that I feel like Kirby, all these games, I feel like the Alabama game, it wasn't an 8 game plan. And it's not me being biased, it's because I feel like he has enough experience and he doesn't have that man, Nick Saban, the guy that has taught him everything. I feel like this is his arrogance, but also it's proven is that, you know what? Every game that we're going to play, I'm so confident that we're going to be okay. It's going to be a test run until we get into the playoff, especially since we have the playoff extension. This Alabama game, this Texas game, Georgia? I feel like Georgia's going to make it, even if they lose 3 games.
In this conference, 10-2 is going to get you in, especially because of
regardless. Exactly. Right. So I'm telling you, this is how I feel is that Kirby, every game this year so far, it looks like we haven't had an A game against Clemson. It looks like, especially the offensive game plan, it looks like, we're just going to test out plays to see what works and what doesn't. Because again, Georgia's team, how they blow out everybody in the playoffs, it's unheard of. Is that, we have pretty much experimented all year. And the only team that really gives us a test is that Alabama team. Kirby ain't worried about nobody else. And I'm telling you this. And that's the credit to Alabama. But if it ain't Alabama, Kirby ain't, and especially early in the season, this is like either way, if Alabama was at Georgia, I feel like it's a test run. In my opinion, because I feel like these two programs are like, we don't care about nobody else until the red and black and the crimson and white, we see each other in the big game. Everything else is a test run. Now that could be our egos, but it's the truth. You feel me? Like I feel like what's his name? Mike Bobo. He hasn't had one A game plan this year yet. Clemson, the Kentucky game, we had a C+ game. When Georgia plays Kentucky, it's all about who's physical. It ain't no scheming. It's just mano y mano. You can go back, whether it's a blow against Kentucky's like a little brother, which when you look at your little brother, we don't look like we're gonna put out our game plan. We just gonna be like, hey, it's me versus you. The bigger, I'm
You
gonna
can't.
out physical you.
That was the one mistake I think Georgia
That's
made. Was that can like this year that Kentucky defensive line was like J.J. Weaver, Deion Walker,
they're
like that
underrated.
was
Yeah,
really good. So when you try to play more of a base vanilla, like they were playing base vanilla in that
but
game.
also, guess who? Guess who? The two key players that Kentucky got. That is the single collar on both sides of the ball. The quarterback was our second string, and then John Dumas Johnson, the middle linebacker. The two
Yeah.
quarterbacks that know, remember, and they've been in the Georgia program for 3+ years. So, and they've said it in their press conference and stuff. They know exactly what Georgia's going to do. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to out physical them. You're going to have to bring the same level of intensity. But that doesn't mean scheming. I guarantee you, if this was an important game, it would have been a blowout because Georgia wouldn't have just went into the game was like, I'm just going to try to out physical you. Kentucky had an A+ game plan, and that was their Super Bowl pretty much. But also it showed, this team is better than they came into the season as. Everybody down to them. But it's like, oh, it wasn't just physical. Look what they did to Ole Miss. Either Ole Miss is not as they're just a pretty boy team. Like they don't really have a type of gumption about them, or they just severely underrated Kentucky, and they you know what I'm saying? Which is again, that's one of the problems that Lane Kiffin. I don't know how you feel about Lane Kiffin, but this is Ole Miss's kind of team. They're really not gonna smack you in the mouth. They're gonna try to out finesse you.
Yep, they're East West. They're East West. They're an East West.
And you can't do that with and you can't do that with a team that don't care about finesse. Like it's a team that I'm here for a brawl. You better get into the brawl fight, not unless if you have the most supremely gifted athletes. But that's not gonna work against Kentucky. So I think Kentucky, if they can be 9-3, they may be a sneaky team to get in. They may get like 11 or 12, but how stuff plays out. The one team that I am surprised about, and I'm still not sure, is Tennessee. Tennessee's probably y'all toughest. We both have Tennessee on our schedules left. And do y'all play Tennessee at home, or do you have to go away?
We got to go on the road.
See, that's gonna be really tough on y'all. We get them home, so that's gonna work in our favor. But depending on how Tennessee is, I'm really not sold on them yet. But apparently, they're a really physical team, and they have a great front seven. But
their front seven is really, really good. Their offense, for the most part, they're a lot more power run, but they still run that little. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes they run a little bear and shoot look, where they're just the receivers all the way out wide. The one thing I'll say, I'll continue to say this. I think this Vanderbilt quarterback is more threatening than Nico because Nico's not. He can't. He's a true pro style pocket style quarterback. This quarterback that we're going against, he can move outside the pocket. You can use him in the read option. And again, when you can run the football, you're not really gonna account for the quarterback. So so a lot of RPO based concepts, a lot of read options like that can be threatening, like Jalen Milroe, that like these like mobile quarterbacks are just a lot harder to deal with. And so with Nico, so I think with Tennessee, that's probably going to be the one game where you're probably going to bring the safeties down, a lot for that game just to play the run. And then in that football game.
Yeah. And again, I'm not really sold on Tennessee because I'm not really sold on Josh Heupel. I think he's Lane Kiffin. I really believe he's just Lane Kiffin. Great offense, even though Tennessee's offense isn't really actually that hard. It's not as complicated. But if they get the players in, it could be really effective. But You see when a team that is like Alabama and Georgia, where they have superior athletes, you're gonna have to really outcoach them to beat them. And I don't think Tennessee got that. In my personal opinion, that could be my ego, but they have to beat us to see it. But as far as again, like with Georgia and Alabama in the game is that I feel like Alabama, y'all are gonna be okay and y'all are gonna be good. It's just against the one or two teams that are on your level. We don't know just yet about how Kalen DeBoer's pretty much intestinal fortitude is that when the game gets going, when the game gets rough and it's not a home field advantage, is he gonna have that same spirit or that same panache that will gravitate his team to outperform themselves? I don't know, and I don't know if Alabama fans know that about him yet, because anybody again looking at that game, y'all could have blown out Georgia 56-0. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't a Kirby Smart team, which does not give up under any circumstance. But again, your head coach Kellen DeBoer, he should have known that the tie one, you game plan and all the coaches know each other, and you can't let up. You can't give Kirby Smart any kind of what is it called? You have to kill him pretty much. It's the same thing how I feel about Kirby Smart and Nick Saban. I'm like, Kirby, Nick Saban. Georgia, we have to kill Alabama, and we cannot let up until the game is over with. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if Kellen DeBoer understands that. And I think again, Kirby, I think his ego is like, if it ain't Nick Saban, I don't have too much to worry about. Is that this dude knows me. But again, I think it's gonna be a hell of a game. And I don't think Alabama wants to see Georgia again. I think Georgia wants to see Alabama again. Because again, Carson Beck looked terrible. And I didn't believe that Carson Beck was the number one quarterback. I'm a big fan of Shador, but I think that he is a first round QB. And I think that his middle of the field throwing, that's his best attribute. Like low key, I don't know if you like. I know you're a Bills fan and stuff, but when you look at like what is it called? The Falcons, Kirk Cousins.
Mm-hmm.
Carson Beck kind of reminds me of Kirk Cousins. Like Kirk Cousins, like low key, he's a better version of Alex Smith. How Alex Smith was the ultimate game manager. Like he is not gonna do the most spectacular thing, but he's gonna be just good enough. Carson Beck reminds me of that.
Yep. Carson Beck, man, I always keep trying to tell people, man, he's not the best guy at pre-snap, but he's solid. He's solid at pre-snap. His best attribute though was post-snap. He's very good at post-snap, man.
Yep.
And
he plays too cool.
Yeah.
He plays too. Yeah, for me, I'm a quarterback coach and stuff. To me, he has such a cool demeanor. Like he's such quiet. Is that plays to his detriment? But once he gets that fire, you saw a difference. And I'm like, that's the Carson we need to see. Because when you look at him, he plays so calm, cool, and collective that it's gonna be okay. He needs to have a little bit more Stetson in him, even though I'm not the biggest Stetson fan. I'm probably one of the minority Georgia fans. I really didn't like Stetson like that. But I give Stetson credit is that this boy had Brett Favre in him, and he's a gunslinger. I need to see more of that in Carson Beck, and we saw that in the second half. It was like, F it, bro. I know, the Heisman, this was on his personal 3 list of what he wanted coming into the year, but he was like, yo, I'm playing so terribly. I can't go out like this. And so we saw it in the second half, plus, the defense stepping up in the game plan. We got to see that. And I'm looking at the highlights. So Alabama's coming back, huh? Y'all win it? Oh no, it's
No, we're still down.
23-21.
Yeah,
But I'm not worried about that. Though. Y'all are gonna come back.
Has the ball at the Alabama 45.
Okay, yeah, I'm not worried about Alabama. Yeah, I'm not worried about Alabama. Y'all gonna do great.
I'd be surprised if Andy pulls this off. Honestly, I'd be really surprised.
Their quarterback is real. Like their quarterback is just. I mean, literally, Vanderbilt probably should have. They should have scored on that last drive. They dropped the bucket. Like this quarterback, he has not made big mistakes. He's hardly made any mistakes at all in this game. He's been damn near perfect.
Carson Beck's had a good game. 83% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, 200 yards. Not really that much throwing, but he's had a good game. I think that was just a one-off game for Alabama from him. The pressure he had. I think he just fumbled under the pressure, but he needs to not do that though. Auburn's terrible, and it's one thing if you throw really good against like these teams, but if you're going against like Texas or Alabama, like that's another thing. Like nobody's impressed you could throw like this versus Auburn or an FCS team. Nobody's impressed. They want to see you throw like this against like Alabama, Texas, So that was Jake Fromm. Like, I remember him. Nobody was impressed he could do really good against weak teams, but he barely had that much. He didn't have a crazy good game as a passer versus a really big team like Alabama or LSU back then, but that's because we were really run heavy back then. DeAndre Swift, Sony Michel, and Nick Chubb.
And the problem is back then we had Mike Loxley, we had Sark, we had Brian Dable. Well, Brian Dable was, back then because he was trying to utilize Jalen Milroe's skill set. But we had an offense that, man, like you can't, like the type of style that you wanted to run back in the day, we would be up by 2 scores, and then you're playing catch up, and so you have to kind of abandon like the initial. You have to kind of abandon the initial run.
Yeah. A question to both of y'all. Do y'all think that because a lot of coaches have retired under this NIL and new playoff format, do y'all think that do you think Kirby is going to retire in the next 10 years? And the same thing I would say about the Alabama coach. Do y'all think that do you think that they're not going to last as long with coaching as they used to?
Well, honestly, Kirby Smart started in 2016 as a first-year head coach. I mean, Dick Saban didn't start at Alabama as a first-year head coach, and he was there for like almost like 16 years, I think. And this is Kirby's, I think, 9th year, I think 8th or 9th year. I don't really remember, but I think it's 8th or 9th year as a head coach here.
Number 8.
Okay, year 8. So he could be coaching here for 20 plus years if he really wanted to, but I think he's going to retire earlier or switch teams before it's Nick Saban. Or I really hope Kirby started his career at Georgia and retires here. That'd be the best thing,
That's what I think. But hey, Jans, Jans, how do you feel about your coach? You think he's going to be here for the long haul?
I think he will be. I think he's going to be. For the most part, like I said before, like this is not his class. This is not his class of players. I think we're now starting to kind of get into his kind of class, like his actual class of players within the next 2 to 3 years. It's just about, again, like this defense, and again, they scored another touchdown. That was actually a great trick play. That was actually a really, really good play call. But like DeBoer,
that's not good. Ooh.
Oh wow.
Damn.
Like DeBoer, man. Like, and I'm just gonna keep it real. Like, he's not Saban. Like, he's not gonna dominate the SEC conference. We're gonna have upsets. Like,
a lot of people have said Georgia playing the East is why we made the SEC championship every year. I actually agree with that because the West was harder. At the times we did, the West was a lot harder to cross. Obviously, you just have Florida's terrible. If we had the East and West today, we just have Georgia and Tennessee fighting for that spot.
And they got Kentucky on a off here. But you know who's good, who's gotten better over the last 3 years is the Tiger is the Missouri Tigers.
Missouri,
yeah,
they've gotten better.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised with them over the past couple of years because I always thought of that program. I don't want to say a joke, but I feel like they were very mid tier, but they've gotten good.
Yeah, they have gotten pretty good. I wanted to say this. When in 2017, like you were saying, Jens, that DeBoer inherits Nick Saban's squad. Kirby inherited Mark Rick's squad. Well, no. Oh, that was his second year. My bad. That was just but that was pretty much all the players. Almost all the players there. Most of the players were from Mark Rick's recruiting class. It's really took him to the Natty, right? And
yeah,
there was no transfer portal. We had 15 dudes leave. We had 15 guys leave. We had some impactful players decide to go, and that doesn't even include the draft. Like we include Bama lost a lot of players. Now the person that Alabama has is still great, so I'm not going to make the excuse. But Caleb, but there's a reason why Kirby Smart has 2 national championships. There's a reason why Saban had 7 in his tenure. These are all Urban Meyer, as great as a coach he was, he had 2. He only had 2 championships. He had championship at Ohio State, and he got upset. Remember, Iowa scored 50 points. Purdue scored 48. Those Ohio State teams were great, but they lost to teams that they had no business losing to.
Alabama would have 9. Clemson didn't exist.
Yep, Clemson got a couple natties, but look, Clemson's it looked like they're fine now, but look at the last couple years they've been struggling.
But that's because oh boy will not adjust. He is so stuck into his way. You said what?
He won't do it. He won't.
And that's gonna be his failure. I feel like he has 2 national championships. I feel like I don't want to call them overrated, but he had lightning in the bottle with those 2 championships because he had 2 great quarterbacks of all time. Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson, which they easily could have been Georgia Bulldogs, but that's it for another day.
And then Stetson Bennett has won 2 national championships.
But Stetson also, if he wanted to say, again, I wasn't the biggest fan because I saw a lot of there was a lot of things poorly that because of how Kirby is so loyal to his players, like you said about Jake Fromm, is that when a quarterback plays so bad, but because for whatever reason Kirby Smart had loyalty to them, maybe they were just such great leaders.
Daniels would have probably won those 2 natties too. Georgia was just completely stacked,
right,
on defense too, and on offense.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is that you could have played Carson Beck, especially in the 22 championship year. We should have played Carson Beck instead of Stetson. I'm like, Stetson, you've been here how long? We needed to get Carson Beck to play with a team that there would have been no pressure on him. We just need him to develop. You get what I'm trying to say? I feel like we held way too long on, just like what happened with Fromm and the Justin Fields.
Fields should have started. He was clearly better than Fromm.
Yeah, and I could be a little biased because I'm actually I'm tied in with his family. My brother is his best friend. I know his family. I've known him since he was 5. But he wanted to go to Georgia, but the way that I guess how whatever the coaching happened and stuff, it just wasn't going to be a good fit. And it was because Kirby whatever he made a deal with Jake Fromm, it really messed up the chemistry and the potential with Justin Fields. And when he would bring out Justin Fields on like a random fourth down, third down, and maybe do a QB option, or it would be like really weird on how they would bring him into the game. That's what really killed that team. Yes, Jake Fromm, he had a phenomenal freshman year. He digressed so badly each year after that.
Well, no, during his freshman year, Nick Chubb and Sony Michel ran that offense.
That's what I'm saying. He had a great first year, and then there you go.
Yep.
Is Bama gonna go for 2?
Probably not. No. That's one of the greatest that's one of the greatest I'm not gonna say that's one of the greatest catches I've ever seen, but in terms of contact balance, that's one of the greatest plays I think I've ever seen. They tried to push it. He was shoved. He was that. I don't know if y'all realize how difficult that is when you're getting shoved out of bounds and somehow, some way, you're floating in air while adjusting your body to find a way to still stay in bounds and score. I've never seen that in my life. That is one of the greatest.
I thought that 17-year-old wide receiver boggling the ball and catching it, just oh my god.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, Brian Williams, he gonna be special. Does he remind you of Devontae Smith? But I think
it's like Devontae and Amari Cooper in the one player, man.
I was about to say, I feel like he's I don't want to say upgraded version, but he's like a little bit better version of Devontae Smith, which is I'm a huge fan of him. But he's special. He's special. And I watch the podcast that he's on. At Bama and stuff. He got like a players podcast. But yeah, man. But I do think that he will have a big ego? Because once a player gets does so good, they become a selfish player. Do you think he has that about him?
I think he has a cockiness to him that I don't mind personally. I don't think that he's gonna. I think the one thing about receivers, they have egos, especially if you're 5-star guys like Jeremiah Smith, like Ohio State fans. They'll tell you he has a big ego, but he's one like Terrell Owens. Like I hated when the media just got they were digging into him because again, Terrell Owens had a big ego, but he was the last person in, last person out the gym. Like he was a hardworking player that cared about his team, and he just wanted to win. And yes, he wanted the ball in his hands, but because when you're one of the greatest receivers of all time, of course you want the ball in your hands. But the dude was a hard worker. Yeah, Ryan Williams is Ryan Williams. He's the same thing. Ryan Williams. Now he's not gonna cuss out his quarterback or anything like that. He's not gonna have any issues and stuff like that. We haven't seen it as of yet. But that's the one thing about big time receivers and in the game. Like that's the one position where if you're a star receiver, is going to be ego driven. It's going to happen.
Don't you know what? Don't you know who he should remind his game after? Is oh my goodness, man. He used to play for the Falcons. We drafted him. Oh my goodness. No. Because he don't. Oh my goodness.
Roddy
he came.
White?
You said who?
Roddy White.
No. He played at Bama. My goodness. He was after like Amari Cooper. What is his name? Now he's with the Tennessee Titans. He signed with him. Goodness.
Calvin Ridley.
Yes, Calvin Ridley. That's who Ryan Williams should model his guy. I think they're built, around the same size. Because Ryan Williams, 6 foot, 5'11", maybe?
Ryan's I think 5'11", maybe 5'10".
Right. And Calvin Ridley was the same. Calvin Ridley was a great route runner. He was more explosive than Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is one of the best route runners ever. But Calvin Ridley was right there, and he was a little bit more explosive. I think Ryan Williams is even more explosive than Calvin Ridley. I think he's faster, straight speed. But I think he should model his game after Calvin Ridley. And, he's an Alabama alum and stuff. But I see some real... Do you think he's better outside or inside?
He's a better outside receiver. I think he's a better outside receiver, but again, he can play both. I think that's what makes him good. That's what he can play both. I think if he goes into the NFL, you can have him as a slot guy, or if you think that he's a little.
Wait, what do you guys? I wanted to bring this up, but Why do you guys think Georgia can't really recruit insane wide receivers? Like, I think
it's not in their MO. Like they use metrics. They use metrics, and they use metrics to kind of get their guys. Like Georgia prioritizes their second, like they prioritize the secondary. They prioritize defensive.
We recruit really well in defense, so like
yes,
we
that's
stack
what
up every year.
Well, to be well, oh, go ahead. Finish.
Especially like in today's market with NIL, they're gonna like if they had to choose. Okay, if I had to put a bunch of money into certain position groups, where am I going to put it at? I'm not putting it at receiver. I'm putting it on the defense. I'm putting it at what Kirby Smart's identity is at, which is the defensive line, linebackers, and their secondary. O-line, and the offensive line.
He doesn't. Kirby doesn't. And right now, again, well, quarterbacks, a little bit, but he has the early Nick Saban. That's what he is. That's what he is focusing is on the early Nick Saban. You remember Nick Saban had a fundamental change in the mid 2000s, where he focused on the trenches, and then he was like, you know what? I see where the game is heading. I'm gonna have to begrudgingly pay more and do more, with the going outside of the trenches. Kirby, he is so hard set on the trenches right now, but I think that he will like evolve into doing more, into recruiting more wide receivers. But he's like, yo, why should I fix what's working? Nick Saban lost, and that's what Nick Saban lost at Clemson. And he lost and he was like, you know what, I'm gonna have to change up. I think it was maybe around 2015 or so that Nick Saban changed up his philosophy. Because remember, he would only recruit maybe one star receiver. It'll be Julio at a time. And then Amari Cooper.
It's okay to lose Vandy on your first year of being a head coach for a new team. Kirby Smart lost to Vandy in 2016, but he was a first year head coach though. He never had he never head coached in his life, right? He never was a head coach.
Nope.
But if DeBoer was to lose here, I mean, how long has DeBoer been coaching again?
But DeBoer is older. He's much older than Kirby. Kirby Smart is still relatively young. Am I wrong with that?
Yeah,
is DeBoer not older than Kirby?
DeBoer is 39. Kirby.
Yeah. I think Kirby's 50 or 51.
Oh yeah, DeBoer's a little bit older. He's 1 year older.
Yeah.
Kirby is 48 and DeBoer is 49.
Okay, so but Kirby looks a little bit younger than DeBoer. But again, Kirby is built on old school style of football still, which again, it works. The only team that could beat us is a team that is either his mentor. Well, that's the only team that's beat him outside of his first year of football. You get what I'm saying? So
for a lot longer though. He's been coaching since
well, he went straight into coaching after he graduated from Georgia. I think he pursued the NFL 1 year but got cut, and he went straight into coaching. So he
coached Sioux Falls from 2005 to 2009. So he's been a head coach for a bit longer.
But he's still young though. Like I think the industry looks at Kirby Smart as, when we talk about Star Wars, and if Nick Saban is Palpatine, Kirby Smart or Darth Vader. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Kirby's like a golden child, I think, in college football, which rightfully so, he deserves it. You know what I'm saying? Like he is the best right now.
Like I got kind of scared again when Alabama hired DeBoer. Like I knew how DeBoer, his track record, I knew he was going to do some pretty dangerous things at Alabama. And, I kind of got like, okay, Nick Saban's gone woohoo. But then when DeBoer got hired, I was like, okay, like, how does Alabama hire these coaches, bro? Like, honestly, they just when we thought a dynasty was ending.
I think it was easy because
To me, I don't think, and of course I'm not tied into Alabama, but I don't think it was a lot of coaches that Alabama was really going for. I think they had a select few of coaches, which deservedly they're one of the top three best programs in the college football. However, the fan base want to put. And they demand a level of respect and a level of coaching. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm either gonna get one of the top. I'm pretty sure if Kirby wanted to become a free agent, that would have been the only coach, the number one coach on that list. Like realistically.
Probably.
But I think Kirby's gonna stay here because he is a Georgia boy. And I'm surprised that Kirby hasn't reached out to Champ Bailey and Hines Ward, like his old teammates, to pretty much have like a full on time point on the staff. I'm surprised, maybe they kind of didn't want to pursue it full time to be on Georgia staff. But that would be a great in home. Imagine if Champ Bailey was our secondary coach. It's the same thing as like the Deion effect. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if he had that on their staff.
I'm gonna check the. Ooh, 2nd and 7 at Alabama. Dang, they're not stopping Vandy at all. It's like both can't stop it. What? No, well, never.
That's a forward
Never
pass.
mind.
My God. Yeah, this quarterback is causing us issues. That's a forward pass, but this quarterback is causing us issues.
Is he really? Hey, Jens, is he? Because I'm watching ABC. It's on ESPN Plus.
It's like
it's on SC Network.
Oh, okay, I don't got that.
I think you watch ESPN Plus though.
Is the Vandy QB that good?
You know what?
Or is it Alabama not really scheming for him? Like they really didn't.
Did you watch the South Florida game?
Alabama. Yes, I did.
Do you remember how their quarterback, how they were running a lot of motion and they were just running a lot of quarterback keepers, sweeps, like fake jet sweeps.
Yes.
And they were just they were washing down the defenders, and the quarterback would just see a crease and go. That's what Vanderbilt. Imagine if South Florida's quarterback can complete passes, because that opened up the RPO and that opened up that veer and shoot, which those receivers, when they were stretching vertically down the field, he just kept missing. And Vanderbilt was hitting them. They're doing the exact thing that South Florida's doing.
And that's why coming into the game, that was great coverage by Dan Jackson, who he's really surprising with his play, because I was killing him. But I feel like Alabama, when Alabama played South Florida, they didn't really focus on South Florida because they had Wisconsin, right? Didn't they play Wisconsin next?
Yeah, we play Wisconsin.
I feel like y'all focus wasn't really on South Florida. I feel like it's the same way with Vandy.
This scheme, it does not match well against this offense. It just doesn't.
It doesn't.
I'm trying to
but
think that
hold on, Jance, you're right. But I feel like Alabama put all they chips in with the Georgia game. I feel like it would have been a good bye week after instead of before, because after y'all blew out Wisconsin in the first half, y'all was on cruise control. Y'all was like, we're gonna focus on Georgia, and that's gonna be our Super Bowl. We got game day here. We got the number one team in the country. We still see I don't think Alabama sees Texas as the number one team. I think y'all see Georgia as the number one team, and vice versa. Georgia sees Alabama as either the number one or number two team. And I feel like y'all focus, rightfully so, on the bigger target. Because Georgia ain't really, again, when I was telling you about Kentucky, Georgia didn't really focus on Kentucky. They focused on, I'm going to mano y mano, and that's all I need to do to win this game. Alabama is doing the same with Vandy. So, yes, it's a scheme issue, but I think it'll be corrected once y'all face a team that y'all really respect. Like, I don't think this would happen against Tennessee.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like,
when Nico has the same, when you're watching the Vandy QB, do you think he has the same skill set, not ability, but the same kind of skill set as Nico?
He has a better skill set than Nico because he can run.
Vanderbilt.
He's
No, I'm talking about like throwing though. Like throwing and
he's
stuff.
accurate. I wouldn't say he's
So he's nice.
better because he doesn't have a stronger arm than Nico. But I will say this dude is accurate. He
Okay.
like his.
I haven't seen him play. I haven't seen him play. So I
haven't seen one underthrow. I haven't seen one underthrow or one overthrow the entire game. It's either his receivers are he's dropping it in a basket in this game.
Well, don't you know? hey, Jans, don't you know what you sound like? You sound like Georgia fans with Milroe last week. Milroe isn't the greatest thrower, but it was perfectly on game night against Georgia. He couldn't miss. You get what I'm trying to say? Like I'm saying is that I think he is a good quarterback, but I feel like y'all, this is not y'all A game. I feel like this is probably y'all C+ game.
Like it's the scheme fit. Like if we had Mac Jones, if we had Mac Jones running this DeBoer offense against Kirby Smart's defense, would we still have some success? A little bit, yes, because again because Mac Jones developed. Well, I can't even really say. I still think Mac Jones is a half-breed guy. It was just that you're going against Sark. Like that's Sarkisian. If he was in this Sheridan offense, he's not having the same success. I think Georgia would win the game, and Bama fans would probably kill me on that because we love Mac Jones. But people have to understand, man, it's scheme fit. Like Mac Jones, I think does not fit as well into a Sheridan offense compared to a Sarkisian offense. Like Mac Jones was perfect for that Sarkisian offense because it's experience and tailor-made for pro style guys. I don't think that Mac Jones, and especially with his limited capability, would fit very well in a Sheridan offense. I expect against Georgia at least. No, that's what Georgia wants to play against. That's what they want against because they don't have to worry about outside. You don't got to worry about playing the edge now. You don't have to worry about one or two spies. You can just go into your zone and just see if Mac Jones can thread you. But I mean, like linebacker and safety and corner, it makes up ground.
Yeah. No, you are totally right about that. But also, I feel like the level of intensity isn't there with our players today. I think y'all.
Nope, not even close.
So this is what I'm saying is, if y'all had the same level of intensity, I feel like Alabama fans, not you, but I feel like y'all overrated that win against Georgia, where I think Alabama, how much trash talk there was, I feel like it was more. Alabama players have more pressure on them because they feel like they really felt that the win last year in the SEC championship was the best Georgia did. And I believe that was a Georgia B- game plan. I feel like Georgia and Kirby Smart, and which everybody knew, Georgia still should have made that playoff. We lost to a Nick Saban team on his last hoorah, whether you want a conspiracy or whatever. Georgia still should have made. It should have been Alabama. Georgia should have maybe went to number 3, and Alabama should have went to number 4. You get what I'm trying to say? And I feel like the Alabama win last year, especially with Milroe, I feel like Milroe thinks that what happened last year is supposed to happen instead of being realistic and be like, hey, because I believe that Georgia would have I don't want to say blew out Alabama, but I think that they could have won about 20 points if we would have faced y'all again. I think it would have been the same like when we played y'all in the SEC championship and then in the national championship. I think Georgia would have did that to the Alabama team. And I'm not a believer in Milroe's throwing. It's like how I feel about Lamar Jackson. A lot of people love Lamar Jackson, but they don't break down his game. And Lamar has a lot of holes in his throwing motion and his passing ability. He's a phenomenal runner. He it's the same thing with Milroe. I'm not a big believer in Milroe's throwing. I think he's a streaky thrower. But when things go wrong, like a lot of his passes, when Ryan Williams was catching it, if the Georgia defender just turned his head, it wasn't great ball placement. Milroe, he doesn't have great ball placement with his passes. It's kind of a little bit all over the place. And I'm like, if the DBs just turn their head, it'll be a lot of passes defended. So I think Milroe is he's so confident in his running ability that he feels like, oh, he could do that against everybody. And I think that if, like in that Georgia game, you saw Georgia, they were less aggressive in the second half. And I don't think people realized that Georgia was so hyped on defense, they forgot about the rush lanes. Like it was a lot of fundamental things that they fixed in the second half. And I'm like, Jalen Milroe, that's the team that you're gonna see the second time. You're not gonna see that first half against especially that Georgia defense. You're not gonna see that Georgia defense in the first half. You're not gonna see that team again. And I think Jalen Milroe has to be cognizant of that. Hopefully he is. But for me, I'm not a big believer in Jalen Milroe's passing. I think he could do that against a lot of good teams, but his passing, when you see the Chiefs play the Ravens, they change up windows and they change up different things, and they are daring Lamar to beat him throwing. And he can't do that against a team that's on the same level. I could be wrong, but this is how I see the game. Do you feel like Jalen Milroe could, like you were talking about Mac Jones, about Mac Jones's throwing ability? You think Jalen Milroe has the same?
I think his ball placement got better. I think Milroe's ball placement got better, man. But I mean, he got sacked and fumbled the ball. One thing about Milroe that he's not good at, he doesn't have a feel for the pocket. He doesn't have a feel for the pocket. Like I said, he's a half-read quarterback. He's a person that will read half the field, especially he'll read half the field. So if the intended route is going, let's just say to like a post corner or like a route that's going to be alongside the boundary, he'll look at the side. He'll look at the first, and then he'll look at the high, and then he'll look at the low. He won't see it. And that's the thing. Like you gotta have some sort of you gotta scan.
Do you think? A question, and I'm surprised I haven't really heard people compare, but I feel like Jalen Milroe is more comparable to Jalen Hurts.
Yes, he's more. Yes,
and I haven't heard a lot of people say that. I don't know if Alabama fans have said or think that, but I'm like, when I see Jalen Milroe, I think he's a better athlete. I think Jalen Milroe is one of one in the athletic and running. But I see a lot of Jalen Hurts and Jalen Milroe. And you saw how hold on. When I look at them, you see what Georgia did with Jalen Hurts. When what's his name? When Nick Saban and they won in 2020 when they put in Tua. Or what was it? Was it 2019? When Georgia played Alabama?
2017.
27, that's what it was. When Nick Saban, and this is why he's a great adjuster, Jalen Hurts couldn't do nothing against that Georgia team. And then that second half, Nick Saban realized that, you know what, I'm going to have to put in the better passer. Yes, I'm going to have to sacrifice a little bit more of the athletic side, but passing, that's what's going to beat Georgia, not necessarily running. It's the same thing. Like in the SEC championship, if you rewatch the game, Georgia made an adjustment and Alabama didn't because I think y'all scored it was 3 touchdowns in the first half, and then y'all scored only one more touchdown, and was it a field goal? Because it was 27-24.
Yeah, we had a safety, or it was
it was a safety, and of course y'all got lucky on that play that was that play that he threw a long pass and the ball hit the ground or something. It was a bad call, the ref didn't make. But Georgia shut down Alabama's running, or Jalen Milroe's running. He was not effective. And Georgia in the second half, that game was so weird to watch because it was like a total opposite of what Georgia was doing all year. It was like, yo, I'm gonna ease off. I'm gonna stop doing what worked. And then when we did put drives, we had 2 quick scoring drives, and it was like Alabama couldn't stop them at all. It was like Georgia completely was like, hey, I'm not gonna I'm gonna almost stop playing with him or something. It was kind of weird how the game played out. And I'm like, it wasn't really a true testament on both teams. I think they both played because it wasn't Alabama's A game and it wasn't Georgia's A game. It was kind of weird, bro. I was like, it just seemed kind of weird. It seemed like both of them were playing for both teams to make it into the playoff. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, I feel like it wasn't Nick Saban's game. I feel like they were hyping way too much on this is Nick Saban's last hoorah, and like all the interviews and stuff Kirby was saying about Nick Saban and Nick Saban was saying about Kirby. It seemed like they knew that one team was going to get screwed out. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like they were not going to let both teams in. It was either going to be Georgia or Alabama. Instead of it should have been both of them got in because they both played the best all year. Yeah. It was kind of like we're gonna give Nick Saban the last hoorah. And I was so disappointed in Alabama because I'm like, how did y'all play Georgia tough? And against Michigan, it was like, I don't know what happened with Alabama. And I'm like, that's not with Nick Saban. It was weird, bro. I was really disappointed. And I was so hoping that y'all were going to beat that cheating program. It just felt weird, bro.
I'm back. How you at it? What's going on?
Oh no, I was just talking about I don't know how it got to the point, but I was just saying that I think Alabama isn't really focused on this game.
Oh, what about
dude? It's second and you're at the Alabama 6. What's going on?
Well, Milroe fumbled because Pritchard overextended and
my God.
Yeah, we're about to lose. It's like I've seen too many of these games. We're about to lose to Vanderbilt.
Alabama. If Vandy kicks,
they score here, it's over. Like this defense cannot. They cannot. Like this is a masterful.
Wow, they scored
running. If they score, so we'll see.
Vanderbilt just scored.
Actually.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Game over. It's
over.
Oh
my God. What am I witnessing right now?
James, I don't know. Don't say that because remember Georgia, it was game over last week.
Yeah. I'm not saying crap. I'm not saying anything, bro.
You have to kill Alabama.
Remember we're up down 20 down. Everyone's saying, "Oh, the game's over."
I mean, the difference is that Georgia made stops defensively. Literally the only time we have stopped Vanderbilt is when they shot themselves in the foot. We didn't make any stops of our own. They shot themselves in the foot. Like literally we made them punt the ball. No, they haven't punt the entire game. They haven't punt the ball once this game. The only time we have stopped them is I'm sorry, they punt the ball twice, shocking. But one of them was because of the penalty, because we had two players with the same jersey on the field. And that gave them the first down, and they scored a touchdown. Then the second time they punted, it was because the receiver dropped the wide open pass. Vanderbilt, I'm not even going to over exaggerate. They probably could have scored 50 points on this team. They should have scored 50 points. But this defense is terrible.
So Vandy is better than Georgia now. That's what I'm going to be hearing for the next week or so. Oh, Vandy's way better than Georgia.
Look good for Georgia. Like Georgia, no, I know y'all not going to do it, but Georgia fans going to be laughing. I'm like, you do realize the team that lost to Vanderbilt beat you.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we can't be laughing because like we got completely kicked.
Guys, I feel like we are way too focused on what the media and everybody's going to say. We need to go back to. We shouldn't worry about now. Of course, the Vandy loss is terrible because it's Vandy. At least Georgia lost to Alabama on the road. Now this Vanderbilt loss, Alabama. I don't know. It's gonna be tough for y'all. But to be honest with you, again, our program shouldn't worry about nothing until the playoff happens.
We lost.
That's what needs to happen.
Vandy in 2016. We lost one.
You right. And guess what? We still and Georgia went 7-6. But what happened? Like I feel like we shouldn't worry. We should worry about the little things. Now, the Georgia loss again, it's Alabama. Alabama, if y'all really lose against Vandy, it's going to really look bad on y'all. Not so much Georgia, but this Vandy loss, like pretty much like if Georgia lost to Kentucky, it would have been the same thing as Alabama losing to Vandy. Because Vandy is better than we think they are. Kentucky was better than we think they are. They're not completely trash, but we should handle them easily. That's what I feel like we shouldn't really put too much stock into these wins and losses. I feel like this is all a simulation. This is all practice until we get to the big one. That's just my personal
I
opinion.
think Benny's gonna rush the field if they win.
Oh yeah, you already know. And rightfully so. They beat the number one team.
We're not gonna say that yet. Alabama could pull. It would take a miracle for Bama to win, but they could theoretically still win the game.
I think the Vandy team. I think the Vandy fans would storm the field even if they lost to Alabama because it's it's like we actually took the number one team down to the wire. Look, they have no sense of success. I think they'll storm this field regardless.
You honestly just can't believe it. I mean, honestly, I'm a Georgia fan, but as much as I want to laugh, part of me is surprised. I'm just like in kind of I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah.
It was hard to laugh because we lost.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with both you guys. I'm not surprised. I'm not. The same crap that I saw against South Florida, the same game plan of lack of adjustments and player personnel just getting blown out in the player personnel just getting blown out in the second half because of Georgia. Like again, I don't want to take any credit away from Georgia. I don't want to take away credit from Georgia, but the offensive adjustments that they made wasn't even that difficult. Bama made the lack of adjustments Bama made in the second half that's coaching. And then when I made the videos, and then when people I had a shit ton of Bama fans come to my channel and they were criticizing me saying you're spoiled. You're not a true Bama fan because you've only been here since Saban. I'm like, dude, okay, you know what? I'm gonna let you have it because it is what it is. Like you deserve to be happy. But at the same time, this is what I talked. This is exactly what happened. Again, they're not doing anything fancy. They're running a lot of RPO based concepts, but they're running a lot of option. And guess what? These players, they're not playing assigned football, but the scheme it's not a fit. The scheme's not a fit.
And that's why I asked you, Janson, I don't know the resolve of Kalen DeBoer. Remember, that's why I asked you. I'm like, I'm not sold on him.
He's an offensive coach. DeBoer isn't like the one thing that I've always said is that the offense will score 30 points on anybody. Like I think we're going to score in this drive. We'll score 30 points on anybody. But the problem is my main concern was the defense because when you lose as many people as you did in the secondary, when now you have to force now Xavier Brown's playing, Jalen Mbakwe, Red Morgan's playing, Malachi Moore is playing as a field safety, which again I think I think he's okay. I don't think he's the greatest at field safety. Keon Sabb is the strong safety. Is a strong safety. And then you have a bunch of defensive personnel. I mean, we were just running a 3-4. Like we were more of a hybrid. We were running sometimes.
Go
ahead.
But when you're running more of a hybrid like defense, like you're gonna have certain players coming for you're gonna have certain players come for person, depending on their personnel. Like you'll have 3-4 defensive ends. What do you think they're going to be playing? They're going to be playing as a 5 tech. You're going to have some players that's going to be playing as a 1 tech. And then when you incorporate them in this defense, like you'll have 1 techs that are playing 3 techs. You'll have 5 techs that are playing wide out.
Y'all don't have the player personnel for this game.
We don't have an identity. We do not have an identity on the defensive line.
And that's on the coach. That's coaching. And
that's in.
Question: do you think that both of our fan bases rated our teams too highly this year and not really dissecting our strengths and weaknesses. Like I think we have been. Both our fan bases think that when we come into playing the game, we expect this and this is supposed to happen because we are better. We recruit, we're stronger. Instead of blank having 0-0, every team, we should view everybody as being on the same level. Both of our fan bases have came into the season thinking we are such and such this. Like I feel like Georgia fan bases, we came into the season thinking too highly of Carson Beck and thinking too highly of Trevor Etienne, like our transfer. And you know what? Hey man, this Georgia offense, we didn't really lose too many people, especially on the outside. We got Carson Beck returning. We should be so much better. And then Alabama, man, Kellen DeBoer isn't really that. He's really not that different from Nick Saban. Oh, you see what he did with Washington and brought that team to that. Like Alabama fan base thought Kellen DeBoer was supposed to pick up right after Nick Saban. And I feel like both our fan bases, we are getting a shock of reality. Is that this is not as peachy as we make it seem. Like we are more closer to the crowd than we have been in the past. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like we I feel like we have questions on both our teams for different reasons, but I feel like us compared to the rest of the field is way much closer than what it has been in the past. Despite the coaching. I mean, how do you feel about that? Do you agree or do you disagree?
I think Georgia fans kind of rated the team too highly, in my opinion, because I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna win another natty. I mean, that's the expectation. But I'm like, we lost our weapons. We lost Brock Bowers. We lost Ladd McConkey. We lost a lot of players.
Hold on, I gotta push back on you. Go ahead, finish. I gotta push back on you on that.
Oh, never mind. I'm finished.
I'm gonna push back on that. People have rated Brock Bowers and McConkey too much. What happened last year? You do realize that McConkey and Brock Bowers missed a good portion of the year.
Oh, I forgot about that.
People forget the past 2 years. Our national championships, McConkey got hurt later in the year. He was injured in all those games. Brock Bowers missed like 6 games, I do believe, last year. He was like maybe 60% healthy in the SEC championship. So was McConkey. They both had knee injuries. Well, I think it was like an ankle injury on Bowers. But remember, they were both hurt and they missed a lot of games. And our offense was still moving. Like people dismiss, oh man, we lost Bowers and McConkey. Well, they were actually hurt. And Rara and Dominic Lovett, who we coming into the season, we thought they were going to take that next step because we saw they took that step when both of them went out. And Oscar Delp, I'm really disappointed in our tight ends, and especially with Oscar Delp, because he looked really good last year in absence of Brock Bowers. This year, he looked like he ain't played football. He's not blocking. He's kind of running half-ass routes. I'm sorry to curse. Like, it's like, yo, like, dude, this is supposed to be your position. Like, you don't got Brock Bowers, and you don't have old boy no more. Our big tight end. Now he's with the Steelers.
Look at Alabama. They filled the other side of the stadium up.
It's 75% Bama in that stadium. Literally 20. It's like literally 75% of it. It's a home game. It's practically a home game.
All those nerds in the student section.
Hold on, is the game over with?
No,
is the game over with?
It's not over. But it's just
touchdown, Bama.
Now I'm nervous about this. I'm just nervous. Now you're nervous. Vanderbilt.
The only thing I need is a stop. Is one quick 3 and out. How many minutes is left?
2:46. We got 3 timeouts, so it's a lot of time.
Oh,
you gotta get a stop.
Y'all are good.
You gotta get a stop. That's all you gotta do. You gotta get a stop. And you gotta score. You gotta get a stop. And you gotta score. I mean, even if they get a field goal, right? You can try to, you get the ball back early. You can score a touchdown. You get the 2-point conversion. it's 43-43. We get overtime, but
there you go. But again, I think Jalen Murrow has to win with his arm.
Yep.
And that's why this is why I asked you, Jance, about do you think his passing ability? That's what's going to once a team, because I'm a Mike Vick, I'm a Atlanta. Mike Vick, especially early on, if you stop his running, the Falcons have never had the offensive weapons, especially wideouts, to really help Mike Vick. Once you stop Mike Vick from running, the Falcons would lose. Once you stop Jalen Murrow from running and you cut down on his yardage, he has to beat you throwing. It's the same thing with Jalen Hurts. Until Jalen Hurts has gotten better as a passer, but it's the same thing with Lamar. Like I am not afraid of them throwing. They will beat me with the RPOs, and I question how they see the field. And Jalen Murrow, I feel the same. And I guess Vandy was doing it. Vandy watched that second half of Georgia. It seems like
Alabama. I mean, I knew when Vandy scored the touchdown, Alabama was not done yet. They could Alabama can still win the game.
You just got to stop. You get a stop. You win the game, and you get the ball back. You have a chance to win. But here's the issue: we cannot. What type of punt? What type of kickoff? I think guy did it because that was one of the. I don't even know what the hell we did. But we cannot stop the offense, and it's just to a point now. I can't even. I mean, they're getting blown. Like they're getting blown off 3-4 yards off the ball.
I was about to ask you, how's the line of scrimmage? I was just about to ask you.
They're getting. I mean, it's better than that because what do we do now? We brought the linebackers up. We brought the safeties up a little bit, so we're playing a little bit more aggressive. But then when they see that, what's Vanderbilt going to do now? They're going to do They're going to push it to the outside. It's a lot of. They're going to push it to the outside. They're going to run a lot of they're running triple option. Like they're running some triple option. They're getting to the outside, and we're not setting the edge. So yeah, you can fill up the interior, but then you got to try to go to the outside. When we try to contain the outside, the interior is left to be reckoned with because both of our interior defensive tackles are getting pushed back. They're just getting washed. They're getting easily washed. And so what's going to happen? They're going to penetrate up the middle. Then they're going to run triple option. Then it's a lot of RPO based constant. Then they're running RPO.
So they are mixing up. So they are mixing up looks for the defense. That's why y'all can't stop it.
It's just too many looks. Like they're just mixing. Like because Vanderbilt was able to just run the ball successfully, especially with this quarterback breaking the outside. It's a guessing game at this point now. Like we don't have a feel for the game. It's a guessing game. And just when you feel like you do, Vanderbilt hits us with something else that we haven't seen. And now you're playing. It's catch up.
You are describing what y'all did to Georgia last week. And I'm saying it was the adjustment. That's why I said that's the difference from everybody else. Kirby made the adjustment. And Vandy studied. Wait, I think, did Vandy have a bye week last week? Because if they had a bye week, then they completely watched. You said what?
Let me check. I think if they did have a bye week, I can guarantee you.
Then it makes perfect sense.
Studying that South Florida film. They were studying that South Florida film.
I think they were studying the film Georgia, Alabama last week, bro. Because everything that you just described, Alabama did that to Georgia. Just Georgia, Kirby Smart is just so superior that he made the adjustment in game. That's very rare instead of the following week. But Vandy watched what the Alabama offense did to the Georgia, where Alabama was running quick thing. Y'all were attacking the perimeter, and then y'all would hit on that deep route. Y'all had Jalen Milroe. He's a great runner. And y'all game plan was exactly what Alabama did to Georgia in the first half. And Alabama saw what Georgia did in the second half.
First down, Vandy.
You said what?
First down, Vandy.
They just slip. They're slipping. Like we're playing the quarterback, and they're just slipping. They're slipping the tailback. They're slipping, and that's the thing about it. No one has the tailback. So we're in man.
Oh, that was a bad read. Yo, I'm watching Jalen Milroe in that first pick, the interception.
It's a terrible read.
I don't know. See, and that's what I'm not.
Wait, it's 2:05. I'm behind. I'm watching illegally.
I'm watching the highlights on ABC. That's what I said. It's
Oh,
I
it's
don't
2-minute warning. I forgot. Stupid 2-minute warning. Why did they add that shit to college football? Excuse my language.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's advertisement. It has to be. It's advertisements.
Well,
man.
no, because they're trying to make college football into pro football. That's the reason why. You see, that's why they did a playoff. Did you hear me, bro? I was like, that's why they did a playoff. More advertisement, and also they're trying to make it, bro. College sports ain't college no more, bro. It is professional.
The fans are better in college.
Oh yeah, no, fans are better, but I'm saying the actual game, they're taking the physicality and they're taking the amateurism out of it. It's pretty much pay for play. Like it's the NFL pretty much, and especially with the NCAA. I don't think there's a governing body with the NCAA anymore. I don't know who's making the decisions. It don't seem like there's no committee. It just seems like whoever is has the most money, that's what's gonna make the most rules.
Bro, I hate 2-minute warnings so much. Like honestly, it gives a losing team advantage.
Yeah.
My opinion. But again, if Alabama are going to win this game,
we got to get a turnover. I think that's the only way Bama's going to win the game. They got to get a turnover, fumble, something. Like they got to get a break, because it's like whoever Vanderbilt's offensive coordinator is, man, deserves a pay raise.
I'm not.
He's going to get a job. He's going to get a coaching job next year.
I'm not for the Alabama miracles. Remember that catch was Auburn last year, I think. Oh yeah, like I was like, oh my god, Auburn's gonna beat them. Are you kidding me? But then of course they pulled that on them, and then they beat us in the SEC championship. Well, that's football. That happens. 2nd and 26.
Man, like
broke my heart. Yeah, I mean that's just like,
yeah, like we're just getting. I mean, I can't. How can I get mad at this? We're getting out coached. We're getting out coached, and we're. I mean, these players. I can't get mad. I can't. Like Vanderbilt is just they are. If they win this, like Vanderbilt does. I don't think even if we somehow pull off a win, we're not the better team. Vanderbilt has been the better team all day. Again, the reason why Vanderbilt hasn't scored 50 points, and they get another
0 and 60. Oh my god, that stat that just pulled up. Wow.
The reason why Vanderbilt hasn't gotten 50 is because they killed themselves. They stopped themselves from scoring 50. We didn't stop them 50. They did it to themselves.
This is similar to Purdue versus Ohio State. Whenever Purdue completely kicked them. Well, not similar, but like
I know what. Yeah, Iowa did it worse. Like Iowa put up 52, then Purdue put up 48. Like
first down, Vandy.
Yep. And you can't waste the timeouts. I actually like the management. You can't waste the timeouts. They get a first down here, game's over. Simple as that. Let's see. You get penetration. Like even on that, like look, like just run, like just no run discipline.
It's gonna go down the minute 20, minute something, minute 20 something.
Yeah, we're gonna have like 40 something. If we get a stop, we're gonna have 40 seconds. But if I'm Vanderbilt on fourth down, I'm going for it. They can't stop me. Why the hell am I gonna give you the ball back? I'm gonna end it.
I'm probably gonna. I don't know. Like I'm way behind you guys, so I'm very behind. So are people coming back to the stream now, Jans?
Hey, it's a few. Like my boy Tyler. He's in chat. My boy Tyler's in chat. He's an Ole Miss fan. He's clowning us and stuff like that. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Miss. Like sometimes when you dish it, you got to take it. It is what it is.
Ole Miss lost to Kentucky.
You know what I'm saying? Like listen, like he got his get back. I got at him. I called him out, and he's getting me back. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Look, my boy Frightened Truth. He's in chat.
I remember like in 2017 when I was rooting for Clemson so hard the very next natty to beat y'all, and like the amount of happiness I had when Clemson kicked Alabama in 2018 like was crazy. I think every Georgia fan was going for Clemson.
So let's see if they pick up the first down here. The game's over. It is what it is. The question is how do you respond? How do you respond? Like how do you we're gonna see how mentally tough this team is. They got it. Yep, game's over.
Oh, you spoiled it. Darn it.
Got it. Yep, game's over. All right, so Vanderbilt's gonna win the game, guys.
That's like this is surprising. Like I don't think I've ever seen something like this in my life. It's insane. I mean,
can't complain. I like all that yelling I did in the beginning of the stream. I will not do it in the second half. We deserve to lose. We could not stop this team for 4 quarters. They kicked our ass.
Uncle was like, how do you lose to Vanderbilt at home? Except this is away.
Nothing I can really say, man. I'm not gonna blame this on the offense. Offense did their job. We had a couple. Even though we had a pick six, we had a couple turnovers. Oh look, this fan is crying, dude. God,
bro, all the nerds, the student section is full of nerds, bro, because they all had to have like really like they had to be really smart.
They believed and kicked your ass, but they fell into the rat poison. They fell right into the rat poison. They fell right into it, but you know what? They fell into it. They got their ass kicked. I can't like this is the one upset where I cannot like when we lost to A&M, like there was so much crazy shit that was happening in that game that I'm like, dude, how the fuck look why are you throwing shit? Why are you getting mad? Why are you getting mad?
When both teams play bad, but it's
now,
another one.
Now we're throwing a hissy fit. Now we're throwing a fucking hissy fit. Why are we throwing a hissy fit for? You play like shit the entire game. Now you're throwing a hissy fit. We deserve to lose today. But the good thing is, man, is that it's the playoffs. This one loss is not going to end your season. This one loss isn't going to end your season.
Don't y'all have Texas?
We don't play Texas.
Are you kidding me? Oh my god, bro. I'm done.
Yeah, we don't play Texas. We got Tennessee.
I mean, y'all played them last year on offense.
Yeah, we played them last year, so we don't. Yeah, I think we'll play them next year, but no, we deserved it, man. I mean, there's nothing else I can say. We deserve to lose. We deserve to lose.
Y'all lucky I don't have to play Texas. Georgia has to win. You don't have to win versus Texas, but it'd be really, really cool if we would. But at this rate, I don't see us beating Texas. I don't see us beating Texas. I'm gonna go to your stream and see if the viewer count is going up because everyone's probably gonna flood.
Yeah. Vanderbilt kicked our ass for 4 quarters. They kicked our ass. I refuse to get mad. I refuse to get upset. Vanderbilt absolutely deserved this win.
Oh yeah, they're popping it now.
I refuse to get upset about this. I refuse to. Kane Womack, man, and DeBoer, and like I said, like Kane Womack, special teams was terrible. Kane Womack was terrible, but you know what? The worst part about it, our personnel, like they got destroyed, like they got killed off the line of scrimmage. A team full of 5 stars got their ass kicked by 2 and 3 stars. This is why stars don't matter. It's all about the mentality. Like yes, these players, like yes, there's talent. There's going to be a big talent discrepancy, but at the end of the day, if you're not coached, if you're not well prepared going into a game, you're going to get your ass kicked. Simple put as that. You got your ass kicked by the better team. Vanderbilt was the better team today.
I don't know. Like this is.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna be on Coach Sean. I'm gonna do the video and then I'm gonna be on Coach Sean. But yeah, they deserved it. And look, this is probably gonna be the smallest crowd. Like it's 25% Vanderbilt fans.
It's just there's student section and some local fans.
Like look at the size. Like there's not even any Vanderbilt fans at the game.
It's just the student section. That's pretty much it.
Yes, the student section that's at the game.
They're just there to have fun and party. They didn't expect them to beat them.
We just, and like I said, all the fans are gonna come in here, man. Listen, I deserve it. I'm gonna get clowned. Everyone's gonna get clowned. And Bama fans, we better not talk shit about any other fan base for the entirety until the season's over with. We better not talk shit.
Unless unless it's Georgia because you beat Georgia, but
Yeah, I mean, like I said, yeah, I mean, Georgia. If Georgia fans want to talk crap, I mean, we beat you. But any other fan base that wants to, any other fan base that we haven't played yet, they want to talk their crap. They deserve to talk their crap.
But yeah, do you think if Georgia had beaten Alabama, this would have happened?
No, I think we would have played this team a lot better if we would have lost. But
what a game!
This was this quarterback number 2, man. This guy, he was perfect. He made no mistakes.
Wait, they're rushing the field. Oh my! It's just the student section. Look at them. Look at them. It's just the student section.
It's so small.
It's just the student section. Oh my god.
Hey guys, I'm back. I didn't miss anything. Did Alabama score or?
No, we lost. The game's over. We lost.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Lost.
Wow.
All those football players are getting laid tonight, 100%. that's what's gonna happen.
Did they storm the field?
Yeah, dude.
No, Vandy's not like a really party.
It's like maybe 5,000 people storming the field. Like it's not.
Wow.
It's so small. It's like it was like 75% Bama fans. 75% was Bama fans.
Not gonna lie, Vandy's not a party school. Okay, it's an academically tough school. It's like it has like a 12% acceptance rate. Only really smart kids get in there. So obviously, it's not like a huge party school or anything like that. But yeah, everyone's getting laid. But I'm just saying.
But all right, guys, I'm gonna end the stream here. Ice, man, I appreciate you guys because you guys calmed me down. I would have been yelling and screaming and shit, but you guys were talking.
I thought Alabama was gonna come back and win, but I'm just kind of shocked.
I've seen this too many times.
I can't talk trash.
I've seen this too many times, man. Like when we can't stop an offense, we're gonna lose the game. We're gonna lose the game. We can't stop an offense. I know I've seen this shit too many times during upset. So. We'll see how we respond, man. I mean, but this is why I'm saying, man, you cannot take your schedule lightly. This is why I hate, I hate playing teams like Georgia this early in the season because you're not humbled. You fall into the rat poison, and this is the trap that you get. But we got to make major changes. We got to make major changes. Something's got to happen if we're gonna because at this point now our playoff lives are hanging. We beat Georgia, that's great, but you lost to Vanderbilt. And if Vanderbilt doesn't finish the season ranked, two losses may get you at maybe 10 through 12. It may get you there, but at this point, this defense was terrible tonight. Terrible. And the crazy part is, if Vanderbilt, even if Vanderbilt never would have got the pick 6, and we were winning the game 35-33. Vanderbilt on that final drive was they were going to score that drive. They were going to score on that drive regardless. So we can use the excuse of, well, you know what? A pick, they should have had a pick 6. Or if they would never have had the pick 6, they would have won the game. Or if the punt would Vanderbilt was going to win this game because your defense got out coached. Your defense couldn't make stops when you needed to make stops. Your defensive line got obliterated. Like you were going to lose the game.
Honestly, you have to be really surprised. It's like, how would you picture? Like 2 years ago, I said, "Oh yeah, Vandy's gonna storm the field versus Alabama." No one's gonna imagine that.
Yep, I never in my wildest dreams did I think that Vanderbilt would upset Alabama. This is their first. I think this is their first win against the top 10 opponent ever. So, but you know what? At the same time, though, I am happy for Vanderbilt. I'm very happy for them. Because this could be a game-changing win. Like this could be an altering program sort of win. Like this could
how
like James Franklin when James Franklin when he stepped in there and they had that streak when they were winning 9 games a year and they almost beat a top 10 South Carolina. They should have won that game actually against South Carolina. Like this could be a defining program win for them. So I'm happy for Vanderbilt.
I can't wait for Uncle Lou's video to come out.
Oh,
he's gonna be.
You better not be trolling. Of course, it's Uncle Lou. He's gonna.
He's gonna troll. He's gonna troll.
We're just gonna. It's like, dude. Like, okay, yeah. Vanderbilt beat us. And I like to remind you that the same team that Vanderbilt beat, we beat you guys.
I'm like, okay, we should have beat Alabama, because if we had beat Alabama, oh my goodness, the amount of trolling and trash talk that would be coming from us right now would be out of it. But then again, if we had beaten you guys 9 times out of 10, you probably would have beat Vanderbilt. So, you know, we probably would have beat Vanderbilt. No. You guys would have probably beat Vanderbilt if we had beat you guys. I mean, that's like psychologically, that's kind of how it works.
Yeah, but all right, Ice, I'm gonna hop out of here, man. I'll be on Coach Sean. I'll be on Coach Sean's show.
Have a great night, man.
All right, Ice. All right,
see you, man.
Yep. All right, y'all. I'll be on the. I'm gonna do this video, and then after when I do the video, we're done recording. I'm gonna upload it, and then I'm gonna hop straight to Coach Sean's live stream. So like I said, so just my humble opinion, JMHO Sports Podcast. That's where I will be at. So make sure to kind of catch me there. It's gonna be a bunch of Bama fans. That's, you know, of course, you know, it's B Coach Sean. I think Jonathan's gonna be there. I wouldn't be surprised if Ty Hayes is on there. We'll have some Georgia fans probably gonna be on there. So catch us on there, man. But yeah, congratulations to Vanderbilt. You guys, I don't even know if, I mean, they absolutely deserve this win. Can't get mad at it. It is what it is, you know. So catch you guys later, man. Peace.